They say everyone tells a story, some through music, some through words, and some, like me, through concrete and glass. I am Jessica Guimarães, and this is my story in the architecture and design world. I was born in São Paulo, Brazil, but I actually grew up in Brasilia, which is the capital of Brazil, that was designed by Oscar Niemeyer, which is, of course, like a huge inspiration for me as an architect. I grew up seeing my grandfather, who was a civil engineer, drawing blueprints, and I still remember, I would look at him and see him drawing those blueprints days and nights, and I would be like, this looks so fun. I really want to grow up, and someday I also want to draw blueprints, and I want to be able to create all these beautiful projects that he's doing right now. So I started drawing everything. I remember I would get a piece of paper, and then I would look to houses or to buildings, and I would try to draw them. And this part of my life actually was really important for me, I think, to build this confidence and this wish to be an architect. And that's what took me to the architecture and landscaping school in Brazil. People design things to look pretty, but they don't think a lot about functionality. Design is not art. Design is functionality as well. You cannot make something that is extremely beautiful but is not functional for the client. So design is most important when you mix the beauty, the aesthetics with functionality. And that's what I try to do when I'm designing my project. In 2023, I did this project in Mexico. Actually, this project holds a very special place in my heart because I did this project with one of my best friends, Shakti, and we were responsible for the remodeling and design of a penthouse. The main challenge of this project, two things actually. The first one, we are talking about a project that is placed inside a hotel. The Waldorf Astoria is from the Hilton Group, so we had to work with several rules, and everything we would do, we would have to show them and ask permission first, and this was kind of holding us back a little bit on our ideas, but we knew that this was important because it was important for them that the penthouse would follow the guidelines that the hotel would ask us to follow. And the other challenge, actually, I would say that this was the biggest challenge, was trying to keep a little bit of Mexico inside the hotel. I never wanted to design things that could completely change a city. Like, one of my worries in architecture is always trying to keep the soul of the cities, and I think we are talking about Mexico. Mexico has such a huge story behind it in design and architecture, and I really wanted to keep a little bit of that alive in this project. One of the things I did was actually trying to use local families as artisans to create all the furnishings of the house and also some patterns, and I asked them to create exclusive patterns but that still would look like Mexico for the hotel. We are talking about Mexico, so of course there is many colors there. I usually always use neutral colors, and I always use concrete or marble, natural stone. This actually taught me a lot that colors can be fun, and I'm very proud of the results. We had some feedback from the hotel saying that the guests love that, so that's something I want to keep for my life, for my career as an architect. One thing that people don't really realize is that fashion and design, they walk together. So everything you see in the runways this year, probably you are going to see in the interior design world next year, and also in architecture. And this comes with colors for walls, this comes with furniture. You can also see some patterns and even crazy things. Like, I still remember the year where we saw all over the fashion weeks in Paris and also in New York, we saw neon colors. And I was like, there is no way that neon is gonna be a thing in the design architecture because nobody looks good with that, right? Next year, we were sitting on neon chairs, and we were painting our walls in very bright neon colors. So that's why it's super important for us as designers or architects to pay attention in the fashion world. Fashion and architecture, fashion and design, they walk together. One thing that people don't really realize is how long it takes us to be prepared for the architecture and design world, which in my view, it's something you never go away, you never stop. I started studying architecture and landscaping back in Brazil when I was 17. Here in America, I found my passion for interiors, and that's when I decided to join UCLA for the interior architecture course. And every day I go to some class, every day I go to work, I find some passion, I find something new that I didn't know, and that it can be very useful for my projects. One tip I would tell everyone that wants to be an architect or a designer, it is don't stop studying, because there is always something new to learn. It's impossible to think about design and architecture and don't think about art. Art is something that has always inspired me in so many ways in my life. So I was a kind of kid who would travel with the parents and I would want to go to a museum. I would always like to check artworks. I would always like to check the story behind the art and how the artists what they would think about when they were creating something. And the Getty is a place that inspires me a lot. I love going through every single room and finding new things that can inspire me. Sometimes I look to some art and then I think like, what's behind that? And then when I read the story behind the artist, and that's something that I can use in some project. When I start a project, I like to talk to the client and learn a little bit more about them. So I always ask them, what inspires you in life? What's the main inspiration for you to do your work? What do you do? Are you a businesswoman? Are you a businessman? Are you a singer, an actor? And sometimes they have no idea about what they want. And they tell me like, I don't know what I want. I don't know. That's what I like. I don't know what I want. So they tell me one thing like, what's your favorite color? And what's your favorite sport? And with the two information, I'm going to create the whole project. Every project, after brainstorming with the client what they want, I have a meeting with my team and then we discuss the main points. We choose colors, materials, but before everything, I start drawing. And I draw many things, like many things, until I have a good idea for them to put on AutoCAD or on 3D, and then we go from there. Then we start working on renderings and 3D models, and we do a couple of them, we do different styles. When I see that this is actually what my client will like, I have a first meeting with the client and I introduce two first ideas to the client. When they see these ideas, they are going to tell me what they like, what they don't like. Sometimes they love, sometimes they want to change everything. Sometimes they want to change a little bit a thing or another. And then that's when we come up with the blueprints. The blueprints will actually tell us everything we need to do in order to make that idea become a reality. People always ask me like, why is light so important? I think that the right kind of light can change your whole place or can also be harmful to you. So it's really important to pay attention on lights. And that's why I really love this part of a project. Light can actually change your mood. Light can make your place romantic or can also make your place looking sad. So it's really important to choose the right type of lighting when you are designing a project. For me, this isn't just a career. It's a mission. To prove that architecture is more than bricks and mortar. It's a bridge between dreams and reality, a conversation with a future, a whisper of hope that echoes through generations. This is my story, and it's just beginning. Every corner I turn, every line I draw, it's a chapter in the narrative of a world reshaped, reborn. Imagine a world where beauty and function dance hand in hand, where creativity knows no bounds, and where architecture becomes the symphony of human dreams. I would like to, through my work as an architect, be the one who could someday bring more passion and happiness to this world. Yeah, that's what I would like to.